Patreon Q&A number 27. I want to thank all 77 of my amazing patrons. Guys, honestly, thank you so much for continuing to stick by me and support me now more than ever, since I need it the most at this point. I let you guys know on Patreon and an update post of what's currently going on with the channel. So, you know, once again, thank you for continuing to stick by me, guys. Things will get better. It's just going to take some time. Those of you who are, like, longtime followers of the channel, you'll know that, like, I'm always going through some kind of problem with this thing. Like, you know, sometimes it'll be good. There'll be, like, a grace period, and then it'll just go back into me fighting this, like, harsh uphill battle. It really sucks, but you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And whoever else is just confused as to what I'm talking about here, I'm going to make an update post on the channel tomorrow. I'll make a video talking about everything, but mainly for the patrons that have been sticking by me. Guys, I honestly, I don't even feel like I deserve you. There's like this weird feeling I have about it, but again, thank you so much, and I promise that I'm gonna make Patreon better. I mean, I really have to at this point, since I can't really do too much with the channel. But for everyone else who's listening, there's probably gonna be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully after this point. Wolf Pup asks, howdy Shonen, what you think about the One Punch Man Season 2 trailer? Personally, I like it. I don't hate it. As a matter of fact, I'm excited we're getting a second season, so we should all be grateful about it. Roaring Aura Void Ripping Fist. Thank you so much, Wolf Pup, for everything that you do for me. All of your support that you have given me, especially at this current point when I need the most. I really am lucky to have someone like you in my life supporting me the way that you are. And I just can't thank you enough, Wolf. So now that I'm done gushing, let's get into this One Punch Man Season 2 trailer. I personally liked it too, much like you did, but apparently that's kind of a faux pas right now. Maybe it's a little taboo to even like this trailer and show support for it, because that just feels like the general consensus right now. Whether I go on Twitter, Facebook, or Reddit, there's just so much negativity towards the trailer and just Season 2 in general. And of course, I know that there's the outliers out there like you, me, and a lot of other people that I've seen commenting in this community. And by community, I mean this channel mostly. So it's just not, it's not all negative. It's not everybody is against this, but it seems like there's more people that are against it than there is. So I could be wrong about this. Maybe I'm in an echo chamber right now. Maybe we all are. But we also have to remember that the episodes that we are seeing on display in the trailer are likely the first 3 episodes. Just taking a guess. It's definitely the first 2, but I'm not really sure if the 3rd one's in there. So it's likely that it could get better after that. In fact, I actually saw an optimistic tweet from, you know, one of the bigger anime influencers on Twitter, who originally, you know, broke information about Season 2 in general. But he said that, you know, it seems like there's a chance that it could get better after, like, the initial episodes. So, you know, that I always thought that that was a possibility, and I certainly hope it comes to fruition. But even if it doesn't, like you say, Wolf, I'm just grateful that we're getting it. And I know that some people aren't on board with that mentality, saying that, oh, you should just be grateful for anything just because you get it. Now, me personally, I am like that. Maybe it was just the way I was brought up, the life that I have lived so far, but me, I'm just usually grateful for something. And unless something is like so egregiously awful, that's when I'll talk out about it and say, wow, this is bad. I'm disappointed in this and whatnot, but I just really don't feel that way with Season 2. So a lot of the people saying, like, I'm shilling towards Season 2. And guys, I'll tell you right now, is that even if I wanted to shill to these companies that make Season 2, it wouldn't get me anywhere. Clearly, as of the state of my channel, these guys do not like me. I'm not like a geekdom figure to these companies. So it doesn't matter if Season 2 is successful. It's not going to help me, and me promoting it isn't going to help me either, because like I said, I'm not getting anything in return other than just you guys watching my videos. But other than that, it's like, even if Season 2 was a flop, it's not like I'm not going to make One Punch Man stuff anymore. I love One Punch Man, and it doesn't matter if Season 2 is bad. It's still going to be incredible because we still have the manga, we still have Season 1. And the hypothetical prospect of Season 3 in 6 years. But, you know, what I'm saying is just, let's give Season 2 a chance. You know, I know it's fun to get on a team and, you know, assert to our tribalism that is inherent to us. I mean, I'm a victim of it, of course. I'm only human, but I know it's fun to get together and be like all trash on something. But maybe let's just give it a chance. So it's JC Staff, and it's not Matt House. And JC Staff doesn't necessarily have the greatest track record with battle anime. They usually adapt light novels. Maybe they have a sprinkle in there of action every now and then, but mostly it's tame stuff for them. So this is like kind of a big leap. That's another reason why people are so against this. And like I said, the trailer seems flat to them. The animation doesn't seem good. The fight scenes kind of seem to be lacking. And if you're comparing it to season 1, that is absolutely true. A big gripe that people have with this trailer is specifically Genos' scenes, and I agree that they do seem a little out of place and not as good as what we were expecting. So like I said, this is the first episode that we're seeing here, so it's possible that this could pass after this, but even if it is like that, I think it's fine, and fine is okay for me. It doesn't need to be incredible. I'm just really glad that they're even making it, because it seemed like at a point they weren't going to, honestly, and then just out of nowhere really they've just been talking about it since season 1 ended. Like, oh, season 2's coming, season 2 coming. What were we going to do with this? Like, I remember Murata talked about season 2 like 3 or 4 years ago. Or I guess it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago. So it was more than a year ago, is what I'm trying to say. He was talking about like stuff that he had to illustrate for season 2 so that they could get stuff right. Stuff like that. There's other instances of him talking about it. I remember him dropping info about how the super fight arc is not going to be that long in the anime. So stuff like that, which led us to believe that they have been working on this. But we've recently found out through that influencer on Twitter that, you know, they're currently in the process of making the episodes. And this is actually true, because we've seen a few of the animators on Twitter posting up the storyboards for season 2 that they're working on. I don't remember the exact names, but I'm sure some of you guys in the comments do. But they've been posting a lot of stuff on Twitter, and we've seen like the working animation of like Metal Bat. We've seen Super Fight Tournament, and then funny enough, they also posted some Mob Psycho stuff, but that's from a different studio altogether. But still, it just shows you that they are still working on it, but it looks like it may be getting better, just based off of those storyboards and the rough animations that they were showing. That gives me hope, but also it's just, even if the animation and stuff on the surface isn't going to be good, it's still going to be good just if you're a fan of One Punch Man, because the chapters that they are likely going to adapt to this season, which I'm assuming is 38 to 84, just hoping. At this point, anything could happen, and they could just stop short of that. For all we know, this season could end on the Super Fight Tournament, like after Saitama offs Gokatsu, you know, for all we know. But I'm thinking it's going to go to at least to Elder Centipeide getting punched. So all of those chapters in between that are great. Much different than season 1. A lot of character building, a lot of world building. It's just overall a good time. And even if it doesn't look as nice as season 1, I still think we're going to have a good time with this one, guys. And I also don't know how long it's going to go. I assume at this point it's just going to be 12 episodes, because it's really not that many more chapters crunched into this season than season 1 was. So I assume it's probably going to be 12 or 13, maybe even 10. I mean, who knows? But all I'm saying is I feel that the hate is justified, but I also feel that support for it is justified too. It's kind of like this weird double-edged sword we're dealing with right now. But we'll only really be able to know what is actually going on once this series drops. So once we're like at least 2 or 3 episodes in, then we'll kind of know what we're in store for. Let us also remember, like, Dragon Ball Super started off kind of crappy, and that turned out to be pretty beautiful, I guess. A lot of people have gripes with that animation too, but at points in that series, it looked pretty damn good. So let's give it a chance, guys. I'm done rambling with this one. Sulphiron asks, hey Shonen, is there any hope to see some Mob Psycho 100 reviews on the horizon? Have you been keeping up with the latest episodes? They are kicking butt right now. As always, keep up the fantastic work. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, Sulphiron, especially like right now at this time in my life, bro. I know I keep saying it, just thank you so much. So Mob Psycho 100 reviews. Let me just say right off the bat, I would love to review Mob Psycho. I know it is fantastic. I know it's amazing. And the thing that was holding me back before was time and brain capacity. Because you guys know I'm an idiot. So there's only so much that I can really cram into this septic tank of a brain that I have. And there's only so many things that I can like follow at once. So like right now I'm following One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. Those are the ones like I'm actively following. Like I have intimate knowledge about, especially One Punch Man and My Hero. Like I really, let's say, train. I train hard to be knowledgeable and be able to create good topics and videos on those two series. I'm kind of in depth in Dragon Ball, more so Dragon Ball Super. And then One Piece, I'm just a casual follower. I'm not good enough to make reviews on that. So that being said, if I were to make Mob Psycho 100 reviews, I would have to read the entire manga and I would have to watch the entire series, which most people kind of just jump into animes by just watching the anime. But I just really can't do that because if I were to review Season 2 without reading the manga, most of the comments and most of the people watching my videos would already know what is going to happen, and because they would have already read the manga. This happened with me when I was reviewing The Promised Neverland. Like, it was fun to review it, but you know, people kind of expect so much more because they want me to talk about the real detailed stuff that has already happened and has already been established. Like, that's kind of the brand that I've established for myself on this channel, I guess, at this point, where I go more in depth into a series than what typically people would. Like people who just review stuff, they're kind of just doing it on the fly, at least from what I've seen. But I have to go, you know, all the way into a series if I'm going to be able to discuss it properly, or at least to what I expect of myself, I guess. So that being said, now that my channel is at the current state it's in, I suppose I do have time to review Mob Psycho, like read it and watch it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to read and watch Mob Psycho, but the only thing I can really do is review it. I can't make any more in-depth videos until June at this point. So if I'm able to, you know, solo all of Mob before Season 2 ends, then you can bet your butt I will definitely start reviewing it. But even if I don't, I am going to be getting into Mob eventually. Steven asks, Shalom, dude. Hope you've had a good week. Was Saitama C-class material when he faced off with Crablante? Because he stated that he always wanted to be a hero, as if that was a viable career choice, and he survived getting slammed 30 feet into the air and landing on concrete. Cookie Monster vs. Moon Rider, who wins? Lastly, have you seen the French anime movie Dofus? I don't think it's Doofus. So I'm just going to say Dofus. It's really well animated action, and with that and Last Man, France is looking to step up their game. Thanks for responding. Keep up the good work, man. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, Steven. It really is amazing, and it means more than you know, my friend, especially right now. So once again, thank you so much. And this is an amazing question, honestly, because I'm a little disappointed that I didn't think about this myself, because this would make for a great video. But yes, Saitama is not only C-class, but he's probably A-class at this point. Like, it's weird, because he's soloing a tiger monster in Crablante right now, and he's just a normal dude. And if we go back to the Hero Association's comparative scale that they used, 5 B-class heroes are equivalent to 1 tiger or 1 A-class hero. So Saitama soloing Crablante, I guess technically puts him on the level of an A-class hero. Now, I think one may have made Saitama a little too powerful at this point in the story. Maybe he just didn't realize how things were going to turn out after this point, or maybe he made Crablante too powerful. But it's like after this point when Saitama is training, wolves and tigers still give him, well, should I say tigers, give him issues after this point. And, you know, Crablante is a tiger, and he just soloed him, like pulling his brain and organs out of his eye socket. Maybe we shouldn't read too much into this, but, you know, if we're, like, being technical about this, Saitama is kind of like A-class level at this point, which kind of throws off the notion of him being a normal dude with no potential, as Dr. Genus says. I mean, if that was absolutely true, then, like, Crablante would just annihilate him even more than he did. Like, probably kill him and Saitama wouldn't be able to do anything. But the fact that he does is like putting him on A level, high B class level at this point. This is like a really cool thing to think about, just because it's so odd and funny. So Cookie Monster versus Moomin Rider, dude, we know who's going to take this. Justice Crash to the Cookie Monster. I don't think he can survive that. At least I don't know too much about Cookie Monster. Is there like feats of power to him? Maybe there is. Maybe he's able to eat so many cookies because of his ability to like consume mass amount of calories, like Pig God kind of. But I'm not familiar with French anime. The only anime that I'm really familiar with, or that I've ever known to come out of France, is Radiant, which I'm sure you're familiar with. I was really proud of that guy, Tony Volante, I think his name is, that made Radiant, because he is French, full, you know, not Japanese or anything, but he still was able to get his manga published in Jump. Pretty sure Radiant came from Jump, right? And then it got in an anime too. And he's like straight up French white dude. And I always thought that it was like against the rules for foreigners to make manga and get it published in Japan, but I guess that's not the case. So good for that dude. But I haven't seen Dofus and Last Man, but I looked up the trailer for Dofus, and it looks pretty damn cool. It looks like a mixture of anime and like Disney movie. Like, it's really unique how it looks to me in the trailer. But yeah, thanks for letting me know about this stuff, and once again, thanks for the support, my man. Raul M asks, yo, what up, Big Z? My question this week is, what if a freshly hatched Cell who was sneaky and smart was in the One Punch Man universe? Thank you so much for your continued support, Raul, you know, especially right now when I need the most, man, so thank you, bro. Thank you so much. So this is an interesting question, because I think you're talking about like the bug creature, cicada-looking thing that Cell was, because you're saying freshly hatched. So he was in that form for like a little bit before he was able to become imperfect Cell by like metamorphosizing, I guess, out of that husk that he was. So basically what he did in Dragon Ball was he just like hid around until he was able to molt out of that. And I assume Cell could do this because you said who was sneaky and smart. I mean, he is. He definitely is sneaky and smart. Dr. Gero probably guaranteed put some OS in him, the Gero OS that like preloaded into his brain that he needs to hide somewhere while he can just become, you know, imperfect Cell. So yeah, he would totally be able to do this, I assume. Maybe if he hid somewhere in like Z City where like a lot of people aren't going to mess with that place, like only monsters and Saitama dwell there. So I do think he'd be able to hide somewhere, because like it doesn't seem like people just go out of their way to find monsters in the One Punch Man world. It seems like monsters show up and then they take care of them. They don't really go on hunts, or at least not yet in the story. So I don't think he'd have too much of a problem hiding out. But then after he did hatch, like, Imperfect Cell is already probably the strongest character besides Saitama in the series. I don't think he's necessarily as strong as... You know what, never mind. Yeah, he is. Imperfect Cell would already be the strongest next to Saitama, and he'd give Saitama a hell of a fight. I mean, well, since he's in the One Punch Man world, he wouldn't be able to absorb Android 18 and 17 because they don't exist there. But I think Imperfect Cell would really be enough to be established a god-level threat and would push Saitama the farthest he's ever been pushed. I mean, I'm sure some people can even debate on here that Imperfect Cell would defeat Saitama. And that's, you know, that's plausible. We don't really know the full extent of Saitama, but we do pretty much know the full extent of Imperfect Cell, and he's likely already a Galaxy Buster. So just taking a guess here. A random guy asked, do you play any games? So, thank you again, Above Dragon Guy, for everything you do for me, man. You know I'm eternally grateful for all that you do, and just the fact that you're continuing to do it, it really means the world to me. So, once again, thank you so much, my man. I love you so much. I do play games. I've been slacking on them, but recently I've been back into games somewhat. So I've been playing Jump Force since that dropped last month. A lot of fun. I've gotten better at it, but I'm still, you know, I'm kind of bored with it, I'll say. I'm really looking forward to the DLC that's dropping, although I don't know who we're going to get besides Kaiba, but I hope we get All Might and Madara in those update in the DLCs, because I'm really looking forward to playing as those two characters the most. But the other game I've been playing is One Piece World Seeker, which I recently beat, and it's a pretty fun game. Like, it's not the greatest game, and you know it has its flaws, but I mean, I really can't ask for much more with a One Piece game than what I've been given. I mean, it would be fun to be like an RPG and you create your own character, or there was more to do in this game, but this is like a fun, open world, almost sandboxy kind of game. It reminded me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. It's kind of like that, but not as good, of course. But the way that you're able to like move around the city with Luffy is a lot like Spider-Man. And the fighting system is good. It's just, there's not a lot of depth to the game. Like, there's not really much to do other than beat up guys, do the mission, and then collect items. Like, I mean, you do have skills and stuff, which is awesome, and you can unlock different forms of hockey and whatnot. It's a great game, but there's not really much beyond the surface, I'll say. But other than that, like, I'm looking for, you know, more games to play. I'm not going to play Sekiro, that samurai game, because that game's way too hard. It's kind of like Dark Souls. I can't play the games like those for a long time. But I'll probably be streaming whatever I'm playing this week or something, because, you know, I can't really do much else with the channel at this point. I'm going to have to contemplate my my steps after this, but yeah, so I am playing games. Are you playing any? Let me know. Paxson D asks, hey Shonen, it's been a while. Sorry man, been so busy, I don't have time to ask questions much. My girlfriend and I just finished watching My Hero, so I could finally watch those videos of yours. Haha. What's your favorite episode and why? I love the Stain episodes personally. Also, if all of the heroes from One Punch Man entered the My Hero universe, how would the top 10 pro heroes look? Have a great week, my friend. I'll try and see you next week. Hopefully, I'll get more time. Thank you for your amazing continued support, Paxson, and don't worry about it, bro. You know, I know we're all busy, but just the fact that you're continuing to support me despite of that is really incredible, and I just really can't thank you enough, my man. So I'm glad that you have watched My Hero. I'm glad that I could turn another person into a My Hero fan somewhat. And it's also pretty cool that you're able to watch it with your girlfriend. I know sometimes girls can be fickle with stuff like that, but I think My Hero is one of those series where everybody can get on board. You know, it's not just like a dude-centric anime. So that's awesome, man. I'm really happy to hear that. My favorite episode, that's a great question. I'm not even entirely sure. There's so many good ones. I like the episodes, well, my three favorite, I'll say. I can't really pick one. But the one that I really like is when All Might defeats the USJ Nomu at the beginning, when he's like, do you know the meaning of plus ultra? Knocks him through the USJ. Oh my god, one of my favorite moments. I love it so much. The anime does it so well. And then my second favorite episode, or should I say in the top three, is when All Might is taking on Izuku and Bakugo in the final exam thing that they have to do. And just the way that the whole dynamic of that episode is amazing, because all three of these characters are somewhat connected, and we've been following their journeys, and we know that, you know, they both love All Might, they both want to be All Might's favorite, or Bakugo somewhat wants to be. But they're all collectively fighting their own battles at this time, and it all comes together with them learning from each other, and just it's just a fantastic moment, and I just love, they did it so well. That whole sequence where he's wearing the weights, and the way that he acts like a villain at times, and you know, also the character growth that happens in that moment is pretty significant too for all of them. Like, I just love it so much. And then my third of my top three favorites is when Izuku rematches Bakugo towards the end of Season 3. God, that fight is so good, and it's so tense too. And the way that it comes to an end with you-know-who winning, oh man, it just done so well. Like, it was so cathartic, not just for the characters, but just for the viewers as well. Because we were like, these guys have been butting their heads, and there's been so much tension, and we're finally getting more and more into why Bakugo is the way that he is, as well as Izuku. And then it just all comes together. They have this great fight, and then when it's over, you know, All Might comes up and breaks them up. But when the fight's over, I don't know, I kind of got the feeling it was like two lovers. I mean, I've always kind of felt that way between Izuku and Bakugo, like they're two lovers. Maybe I'm not alone in thinking that. But also, like, if you do check out any of my videos in the future, I mean, I can't post any of my real good My Hero videos right now because they're all privated. I only have my reviews up, but there's spoiler stuff in those videos, just letting you know. I don't know if you've caught up with the manga yet, since you just said you watched the anime, but there's like so much more in the manga that happens that I don't want to spoil you about. But if the One Punch Man guys were in My Hero, you said what would the top 10 look like? They would pretty much all be in it. Like, there's no one in My Hero outside of like All Might, even nerfed All Might, is like as strong as the One Punch Man heroes. Like, they have a much more powerful power scale than My Hero. So I don't even think any of the current heroes would make the cut if they were to come over. Like, what do we got? Tatsumaki. I won't even talk about Blast because he's, you know, MIA. We got Tatsumaki, Silver Fang, Metal Knight, Darkshine, Flashy Flash, My Mask, Atomic Samurai, Child Emperor, Watchdog Man. Like, all these guys are just, they would be like gods, almost. They would all be like Prime All Might at levels of power, or close to that, if they were to come into the My Hero world. Noah M asks, if you had to come up with the most broken and OP ability, what would it be? I have two ideas. One is really technical in a way that it would work, and I'd have to explain it. But the other is an ability called Protagonist, and it makes you stronger than your opponents, so you always win through the power of friendship and BS. Thanks as always, my guy. Thank you for your continued support, Noah. It really does mean a lot to me, man. Thank you so much. More than ever, of course. But so I think that's hilarious when you talk about Protagonist, because it's pretty much true, especially in shonens and whatnot. I mean, I don't know if you've watched Naruto, but like, Naruto defeats one of the stronger villains in the series towards the end of the war arc, like literally just by talking to him, but not like a oh, we've come to an agreement and I've hassled you enough and whatnot. It's just kind of like he just spreads the whole friendship and BS stuff to him, and then it like throws him off guard and it allows them to overcome him. I don't want to spoil it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This is pretty much what Naruto does, and a lot of the other shonen protagonists as well. And this power really has yet to be beat, as far as I know. It's pretty powerful. So, other than that, I guess I always thought about like if somebody controlled time. That's like the most broken, or one of the most broken abilities I can think of. Not like moving fast so that time seems slow, or not even time like the Time Stone in the MCU. I mean, just like complete control over time. You're pretty much unbeatable at that point. Like, if you could just stop time and move about it as you want, or if you can go back and forward in time, I guess you're kind of unstoppable at that point. I always thought about that when I was thinking about like a really super overpowered opponent. Or just a character in general. I mean, of course, you could be like Superman and whatnot, but if you had complete, absolute control over time, then not even characters like those can stop you, just in my opinion. But let me know what your other idea is. If you just want to drop a comment on Patreon itself or somewhere else, I'm curious to see what your other idea about brokenness is. Unless it's like another thing like Protagonist, but still, let me know. Natedawg asks, what's up, man? Have you watched Death Note? It's my favorite and also my first anime I ever watched. If not, you should really try. It's definitely a top 5 anime all time. If the Death Note was in One Punch Man universe, who would you like to see have it? And if I had it, what would happen to major characters if I wrote their names in it? King, Saitama, Darkshine, Genos. Would they succumb to heart attacks, or would King's meta luck somehow prevent me from writing his name in the book? Love your vids, bro. Take it easy. Thank you for continuing to support me, Natedawg. It means so much to me, my man. So of course, bro, I have seen Death Note. It's amazing. I love it. I remember watching it when I was just a wee little kid, back when it was first airing, because so many people had told me that the manga was amazing. And at that time, I didn't really read manga, so I just watched the anime, and I loved watching it from week to week. And I was somehow like never spoiled about what was going to happen, despite being so like on the internet. I don't know, I just got lucky with that one, but I loved it from start to finish. Like you said, top 5 anime all time. I agree with that. It's incredible. So many other animes just try to be like Death Note just because of how amazing it was. I also love the intro and endings of Death Note. Now, they all were good in their own way, but the one that I liked the most is the second one. where Maximum the Hormone does the intro and the ending. What's up, people? Oh my god, it's so amazing. To this day, I love that so much. I even just love that song, just listening to it. That band, Maximum the Hormone, is amazing. So it really depends. I'm answering if the Death Note was in the One Punch Man universe and if it worked on certain characters. Well, it all really depends on if the supernatural power of the Death Note is stronger than the power of the characters. Because in Death Note, it's based in like a more like reality-based world. You know, it's not really so much like One Punch Man where it's like complete, you know, crazy superhero world. You know, aside from the Death Note and the Shinigamis that come with them, things are kind of normal in the world of One Punch Man, so there's not really like powerful characters and whatnot the way that there is, I'm sorry, in Death Note, like the way there is in One Punch Man. So I'm never really too sure if the supernatural power that comes with that, you know, whatever, where the Shinigamis come from, the world that they live in and stuff like that, if it's stronger than, let's say, a character like Saitama, who is, you know, so powerful that we've seen Season 1. We know how powerful he is, and we don't even know the full extent of it yet. So would a supernatural power like the Death Note be strong enough to kill a being as strong as Saitama? I'm not entirely sure, honestly, but if I was taking a guess, I would say no. I'd say for sure it would try to kill him, but it wouldn't be able to work just because he's too powerful. I mean, that's just the only way that I can really contemplate it, I guess. Same thing goes for Darkshine, Genos, and other characters. It's like, well, Genos is a little different, but Darkshine, you know, is he stronger? Like, is his heart and just his body and his just resilience and spiritual energy, in a way, I guess, is it stronger than what the Death Note's power is? And I'm sure if somebody like Matt Pat were to sit down and totally analyze all of this stuff for like hours, he'd be able to figure out an answer to that. But me, just off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure. I would like to say that our boys are a little too powerful for the Death Note. Could be wrong about that. But I, you know, if you're just asking me, I would say that they are. And as for King, I love that you put it out there because you knew what I was going to say. Yeah, I do think his meta luck would have something to do with it not working. Now, either you can't write his name in the book, similar to how Jim Carrey in the movie Liar Liar, like he can't write a lie. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's an iconic scene when he's trying to write, like the pen is blue, but the pen is red, and he can't write it. Maybe something like that would happen where you try to write King's name down, it just doesn't work. Like the pen breaks, it goes out of ink, just all of these things keep happening to stop you from writing the name in the book, or you simply do write it, but it just doesn't work because King's meta luck is more powerful than the Death Note, or, you know, something like that. But it would be interesting to see if that event were to play out, just how funny it would be for King to like avoid dying from the Death Note. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. Thanks again for your patronage, my friend. Legendarius asks, hey Shonen, was wondering if you think the Flood from the Halo games could take over One Punch Man. So thank you so much for your continued patronage, Legendarius. Thank you so much for continuing to support me all this time, and especially right now. It really means way more to me than you know, bro. So, I did see a few of this guy's videos. He's got a great channel. So if anyone is like into Halo, please check out this guy, Hidden Xperia's channel. He's a fantastic channel, way bigger than mine. So yeah, I do think that they would be able to take over One Punch Man. So I'm not entirely sure what you mean by this question. Do you mean like take over the world of One Punch Man or take over Saitama? Because I think the answer to both of these questions is yes. So the strongest thing I've seen that the Flood are able to take over is a Spartan. As far as I know, there could be something stronger than a Spartan in the world of Halo. But based off of that, I assume that there's really no limit to what they can take over. So I assume that they could take over Saitama at this point. And I guess the only way that they really could do that is through the Spore and their green fog that they have. I guess that would be the best chance of them taking over Saitama. But then if they did, I guess it's world over at that point because they still have his inherent strength. So like one of the zombified, like Flood-looking Saitama dudes, he would just destroy the earth with like a few punches, I guess. But you know, what could the Flood take over just the world of One Punch Man? And I think that is true as well. I really don't think there would be enough firepower or power strictly from the heroes to be able to stop the Flood without just completely destroying most of the population, which I guess is like the only real way to take care of the Flood. So if the heroes were able to take care of the Flood without becoming Flood in themselves, there would just be so much collateral damage in the world to where it almost would be unrepairable at that point. Like the amount of people that they would have to off and how much damage would be done just take care of the flood in general. Man, it would really be like a near apocalyptic event, I suppose. Of course, they're strong enough to destroy the flood with their punches or whatever else, whatever abilities they have. But it's just, you know, the flood just keep coming. They keep infecting people. They keep multiplying and whatnot. So yeah, it's not looking good for really anyone dealing with the flood, honestly. You'd have to be like Dragon Ball or like Naruto or something to be able to take care of these and not really worry about them too much, I guess. Kobi R asks, hey show, keep up the good work. I absolutely love the channel and how it's growing. It's one of my favorite things to watch. Wasn't 105 amazing? I love PPP. I have a couple questions though. I've also noticed the incontinuity. Have you noticed that when his shirt goes off, he grows wings and there are actual feathers around him? Also, when he kills Vacuum, his strike kind of looks like Saitama's. Do you think that he learned from Saitama killing Deep Sea King? Actually, do you think that he learned any new technique at all, or is he just a buffoon discovering his own masochistic tendencies? He's a gag character, but he sure is confident against a cadre. So hard to tell. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, Kobe. I really do appreciate it, my friend, like so much. So thank you again. I did notice the continuity error. Like before Puri Prisoner goes to kill Vacuum, he has a sweater on with the wings behind him, and then when we see the panel of him like going through Vacuum and killing him, he has his shirt off, and we see like the chest hair on him and whatnot. But then in the following panel, he has his sweater back on. So maybe this was intentional because Puri Prisoner just obtains this form for a second when he's doing his attack, or it was just a simple continuity error mistake by Murata, which does happen. He does do it. I mean, a lot of the mangakas do that. So I'm sure he'll come back and fix it before it's put into the volume, which he does that a lot too. But other than that, I love this chapter. It was a lot of fun. I'm really happy that Puri Prisoner is getting like so much shine that he's getting now. I really didn't expect him to go this far. I thought maybe he was just going to take care of the prisoners and that was it. But yeah, I mean, he's potentially going to take down Nien at this point. I really think he is. I mean, he's like a bad matchup for Nien, similar to how like Fear Ugly was a bad matchup for My Mask. So I think that's a cool little dynamic that they have going here. Also, he kind of has that power up that he gained. But I don't think that he learned from Saitama killing Deep Sea King. I think he more learned from Deep Sea King himself, because that's what his attack is modeled after. Like the Gumu Gumu no Gatling or the barrage of punchings that he does is similar to what Deep Sea King did to him. And also, like, we recurringly see this Puri Prisoner thinking about Deep Sea King, talking to him, saying about how his attacks need to have killing intent to them and whatnot. So this is mainly what he is doing here. And yes, he has actually learned better technique from Deep Sea King, because they show it in Chapter 94 with Puri Prisoner. So yeah, he is a gag character, but he's not like a full-blown gag character. There is mostly gag to him. But I don't think any of the characters in One Punch Man are full-blown gag characters. And a lot of people like to say that they are, and they say just One Punch Man in general is a gag anime, but it's really not. Just because it's a parody, it doesn't mean that it is a gag. There's a big difference between a parody like Gintama and then like a gag like Dr. Slump. Like that is Dr. Slump, if you're familiar with that. It's one of Akira Toriyama's other mangas that he made besides Dragon Ball. That is a full-blown gag manga. The characters in it are all gags. Arale, however you say her name, is a complete gag character. One Punch Man, on the other hand, is not. It's parody, but it's very serious too, and it has a lot of depth to it that gag shows and gag series just can't replicate at all, because they're just for the gag. And One Punch Man just isn't just for gags. So that being said, Puri Prisoner does have gag elements to him, but there's more to him than just being a gag. We see that there is growth to him, and he wants to become stronger because he knows that he's lacking in the power department compared to the other S-Class heroes. So that's kind of like Puri Prisoner's journey right now. Him just trying to cement himself as an established S-Class hero and showing that like he's not the weak link on this team, that he's just as good as any of the other ones. Kingisgod asks, hey there, my man Shonen, how's it going? So today's question is, we all know how powerful each head clan or leader of each clan are, but how strong do you think is the leader of the mysterious Asatsuki? Do you think that Naruto and Sasuke can deal with him or her? And don't tell me that it can be sealed, it's overused and boring. Thank you so much for your continued support, Kingisgod. I appreciate it, bro, especially right now. So I'm not up to date on Boruto. I mainly just know about Naruto, but I do know about the Osatsuki. I know about how Momoshiki came to check for Kaguya, and that's why he got into that epic fight with Naruto and Sasuke. But that also, shows that Naruto and Sasuke, of course, are pretty damn powerful even at this point in Boruto, as they are able to take on Momoshiki, who is likely on the level of Kaguya or even above her. But I don't know who the leader of the Asatsuki is. I always assumed that it was Kaguya because she, is stated to be the leader in the data book. But I suppose that things have changed because she's also the princess. So that means that there is a king of the Asatsuki, and I guess that he is the leader or someone else is the leader. But mainly Momoshiki and that dude that he's with coming to check on Kaguya and the tree goes us to show that there's more to them, and that likely is like a big leader to them. This kind of reminds me of like how things happened in the final arc of Bleach with their hierarchy. So I'm assuming there's like some kind of watch character in the Asatsuki. But I mean, there kind of has to be. I mean, it would be kind of anticlimactic if it was just stopped at Momoshiki. But so this leader, he's, if Kaguya is his princess, then he's stronger than Kaguya, and likely he's like the one above all in the Naruto world, I suppose. So I think Naruto and Sasuke can deal with him, not having to use seals and stuff like that. Although likely that's the way that you have to go about taking care of these overpowered characters in that world. But I also have a feeling that Naruto is likely going to die, and he might die to this character. This will give like motivation for Boruto to become stronger, I guess, because as far as I know, there's going to be like some kind of time skip or something in Boruto. And it's kind of implied that Naruto dies, at least from what I've been able to gather. And then Boruto, he awakens. Well, I think he's already awakened his Kekkai Genkai. I forget what it's called. But he's going to have like a more powerful version of it, I guess. And he's going to have his sword. He's also going to lose his arm or something like this. So maybe it's because the Osatsuki clan leader kills Naruto, possibly. So yeah, I think that's where things are kind of happening with that. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not really too up to date on Boruto, but this is just the way that I see things going. And then I guess it's going to be Boruto and Kawaki possibly, who takes down the Osatsuki leader, similar to how like Sasuke and Naruto took down Kaguya, well, with the help of Kakashi and Sakura. But I think something like that more or less is going to happen. Unfortunately, I think Naruto is going to bite the big one here. Joshua M asks, how you Shonen? Got a few questions today. First question today is, what if some of the more prominent members of the A-Class took Monster Cells? Snack, Stinger, Lightning Max, and whoever else is significant enough to warrant this question. Second question, Super Alloy versus Sanji, Darkshine versus Blackleg. Who wins that fight? And finally, I was curious if you checked out the first episode of American Gods for my last question. Stars has a week-long free trial to binge the first season. Hugs and kisses, your biggest fan, Joshua. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, Joshua, and everything that you do for me, man. I really do appreciate it, bro. So, if, like, Snack, Stinger, Lightning Max, significant A-Class guys were to take the Monster Cells, I think they would become possibly dragons. No, maybe low dragons. Maybe some of them. But they'd all become demons for sure, which would be pretty cool because they all have interesting power dynamics to them. So them becoming strong enough as like an S-Class hero, which is essentially what a demon is, or at least at the base level, that's where they would go, and that would be super interesting to see. It's definitely somebody like Stinger. Like if he were to become monster-fied, I'm really curious to see what would happen there. Like I guess his bamboo shoot staff thing would like morph somehow into him possibly. I always assume like something like that's going to happen. That I would really like to see that. Snek too. Snek would become all snake-like, and his strikes would actually probably have like tangible snakes attached to them. That would be really cool to see. But I I don't really think any of them are becoming dragons. I think you more have to go to S-class guys for that. Like, if Puri Puri Prisoner or Tank Top Master took the monster cells, they for sure would become dragons. But I'm not too sure about the A-class guys, because they're not really demons at all. Not even really close. The only one who's close to a demon is, like, E-Iron, I guess. So if he were to take monster cells, he could possibly become... You know what? I think he would. I think he would become a dragon if he did take them. E-Iron. I have faith in him for sure. So Super Ally Darkshine versus Sanji. Oh, man, you're going to get me into trouble with this one. Look, guys, before I even go any further, let me say I love One Piece. I love One Piece just as much as I love One Punch Man. So I don't really have a favorite here. But I just don't think Sanji is strong enough to take down Super Ally Darkshine. So I could be wrong. I'd have to go over all of Sanji's most recent feats of power. But based off of what I could just think off the top of my head, like he really hasn't shown anything capable enough to taking someone down like Darkshine. So the Diablo Jambe and all that stuff is awesome, and Sanji is not weak by any means. He's third on the Straw Hats crew. That's like Yonko Commander status pretty much. But I still don't think that's enough to take down Darkshine, who we've seen is just significantly powerful even for the world of One Punch Man. Like, that huge piece of building debris landed on him like it was nothing. Like it was like cake falling on him. That right there shows me that Darkshine in the manga's iteration of One Punch Man is one of the stronger characters. Like, his skin, his durability is pretty much like the Juggernaut. I really don't see Sanji being able to deal with something like that. I'm not saying he would completely get destroyed, but I don't think things are looking good for Sanji at this point. So now, of course, it's debatable of who is faster between the two. Probably Sanji is faster. I just don't really think he has the power output to be able to deal with the things that, the abilities and the durability that Super Ally Darkshine brings to the table in this fight. So I wasn't able to see the first episode of American Gods yet, but I keep getting ads for it, like through YouTube stuff, and I keep getting recommended videos because I watched that one, the trailer, when I was looking up stuff for the last question that you had. So I'll eventually get around to checking it out, at least I hope so, but I haven't yet. But it is on my list. Like, I have a physical list of stuff that I check out, and American Gods is on there for sure. So thanks again, Josh. G-Tiger798 asks, hey, Zaddy, don't know how to ask this question. So God has the power to turn normal humans into dragons, right? Do you think at the end that Metal Knight's robot army is capable to hold them off until the heroes beat God? Sorry, my English got worse. And do you believe, too, that Metal Knight goes rogue and then comes back and redeems himself at the end by holding God's army off? Wanted to know your take on this, or do you think Saitama is fighting the dragons, God's army, like the Subterraneans in his dream, and the other heroes will defeat God? Sorry for my bad English, it was my third language, but still wishing you an enjoyable week. Thank you for your continued support, G-Tiger. I appreciate it so much, my friend. Really, thank you. And don't worry about your English, man. It's fine. It's actually really impressive considering it's your third language. English is my first language, and I could barely even speak and write it. So you're doing just fine, my friend. You've got a lot of interesting points here, and I do think most of them are more or less going to happen. So I do think Metal Knight is going to go rogue. I think he's possibly already rogue at this point in the webcomic. I think most of us agree that he will likely be an opponent in the future, especially for Saitama, maybe even humanity at that point. But also the other thing with God creating an army of dragons. Yeah, I think this is happening too. I mean, if he could just change Homeless Emperor into a dragon-level Vaccine Man type of monster, who's to say that he just can't do this to like thousands of people? And I think that's where things are headed, possibly in the final arc. I mean, I could talk more about that in the video. Hopefully, I can make it good enough considering the state of my channel. But so I do think those two events are going to happen. But I never really thought about Metal Knight coming back and redeeming himself after Saitama allegedly puts him in his place, or somebody does, because we assume that that's going to happen too. But this is a good little, theory that you bring up here. Because this is awesome. It would be cool if Metal Knight did come back after this alleged arc where he goes rogue and loses, but then redeems himself by, fighting off God's robots. I think that would be... fighting off God's army of dragon pseudo-humans, whatever he's going to make, with his own robots. I think that would be amazing, and I never really thought about that. I just thought that if Metal Knight were to go rogue and then got beat down, that was just it, and he was going to be locked up or something. But him coming back here is even better than that. So I think that's actually kind of makes sense too, because he has so many of those damn robots. So instead of just having them all go against the Hero Association, they go against, you know, God's army, which we can assume that he's going to have. I don't think this is mainly going to be Saitama dealing with it. I mean, it really depends on how much of a monster these humans become after God gives them a power, because if they're too much like humans, Saitama likely isn't going to deal with them, or maybe he'll just nullify them without killing them. But if they become like full-blown monsters like the monster cells, then it would be cool to see like Saitama just one serious punch just annihilating like the whole entire army, or maybe just even a regular punch. That would be cool too. But good point you bring up here. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 77 of my amazing patrons. I keep saying it, but I just can't stop. Thank you so much for continuing to stick by me, especially at this point when I need it the most. It's really incredible what you guys are doing for me, and I can't thank you enough. So I hope the Q&A was good enough. I'm going to keep trying to make things better for Patreon, because you guys deserve better, honestly. So if you like the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone. I sincerely mean that, and I'll see you in the next one.